sponsored by Dennis J. Courtney, M.D., Director of the Courtney Medical Group, located at 3075 Washington Road in McMurray, Pennsylvania. For more information or to make an appointment, call 724-942-3002. That's 724-942-3002 for Dennis J. Courtney, M.D.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to AM Impact on Your Health. AM Impact on Your Health, where every day our goal is to have you learn at least one thing to help you live better and longer. AM Impact on Your Health, well, it's heard each and every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 8 to 9 o'clock. I'm Dr. Dennis Courtney, and I'm with you each and every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 8 to 9. AM Impact on Your Health, where each day you'll find current medical news, knowledgeable guests, fascinating health topics, and where we do encourage you to call in to join in. Today is a Friday version of the show. It is a Get 'em Up Out of Town version where we will open it up to you. I got some things on my mind, and it's in keeping with the theme that we initiated here just this past Monday, talking about medical myths, and pretty much cajoled to do so by a pretty good email from Joe Mercola. Anyway, many of these myths you've already blown out of and know them for the myths that they really are. Some a little sneakily come up on you now. I'll keep referring to them. We'll get through what Joe has called the 12 medical myths that even doctors believe, which I think I did put that little ending on that the other day. Anyway, we'll get into some of those in just a minute. And, of course, keep this phone line open for all of you out there that may want to give us a call and get something off your chest in the form of a question or a comment. Friday is usually our day to do it, and I'll listen for knocks on the door and see what's on your mind when I let you come on in and take to the airwaves. Also love to hear, seeing that last night was Cass Ingram night up at the Freedom and Choice and Cancer Therapy Group. I'm sure it was a captivating audience. I was captivated in my open house for my 11-year-old, and unfortunately had to go to school last night, and really felt bad about missing the festivities. I'd like to hear from anybody who went up to the Freedom and Choice and Cancer Therapy Group to hear how much fun you did have, what were the parts of that discussion that Cass brought to you that were the most interesting, and maybe ones that weren't. 412-825-6262. It is Friday. It is the Get 'em Up Out of Town version of the show, and we do want to hear from you. 412-825-6262 is that number. Also, speaking of numbers, I want to give you, we had Deanna, the new El Presidente of Fruit of the Spirit, on our show. It's going to do nothing more than strum up more of the guests from that company. We're bringing the married Deborah Ray back. I promise you. I will be making contact. In fact, Deanna promised she'd set that up immediately upon her return from Vancouver with her husband. And we'll find out about, I think she said his name was Ron. And we got to meet Ron. We got to hear about him. At least do we not. The number for Fruit of the Spirit products, because the point I'm going to mention here right now is you will not find this in any store. And if I listen to the company pledge, the word ever, you'll never find it in any store. That's not what they're about. They take a completely different tack. They have moved toward a spiritual component, which they feel is not really worthy of just placing it in the stores to have anybody buy their product. They want to have a special meaning behind the purchase of the product, and that's why they only go to selected venues. We are very fortunate to be, I think we're still the only Pittsburgh, Western Pennsylvania venue there is. The phone number to order any of the Fruit of the Spirit products, especially their signature product, which I understand now is going to be added to with things like travel packs and things like that. But the signature product, these 13, 14 biblical fruit purees, the alkalinizing minerals from the Dead Sea, resveratrol, all packaged up in a very wonderfully tasting product, 1 ounce equivalent of 5 servings of fruits and vegetables each day in antioxidant potency. That number, 800-442-3793. I should mention, because it's my last opportunity to put in a plug for them, big doings up at Seven Springs this weekend. It's supposed to be, I think, a nice weekend, maybe a great time to go on up there. Mother Earth Conference is going to be going on with a whole bunch of speakers and seminars. And, of course, we heard from Dave the other day, there's even a weed walk going on with Faith. So you won't want to miss going up there and maybe catching a portion of that. I understand it's a 2-day event, both Saturday and Sunday. What a better backdrop to spend your weekend, lovely weekend in the mountains at Seven Springs with the mother. I didn't realize, too, that the family that owns Seven Springs is affiliated with Mother Earth, and that's probably why it is turned into be the best venue for their fall expose. Should also mention, too, the website, the archives. I mentioned the other day that there was a glitch. There was a problem with taking the shows after we completed them and then putting them up on the website in the archive section. That has now been resolved. You'll find the shows are up there now. I'm able to place them up there without a hitch. And so today's show, along with all the other shows, will be up there just going to be about 10 minutes after the show is completed. From that point on, go to the website at djcmd.com or dennisjcourtney.com. Opening page of the web. The site has an icon marked Archive. Click on it. All the shows, and I mean all the shows we've done here since 2006, are up and on the website, and they're available for you to listen to. I know many had contacted me and been very concerned about where's the show, because they go to work and they can't really listen to the show. I like the folks that actually go to work and do listen to the show. I don't know how you're pulling that off, but hey, great. That's good. I'm glad to hear. Anyway, website now repaired and ready to go. So look, here in this Friday version of the show, we're going to open it up to you as I plot through the remainder. We're never going to get through all 12 today because we take some time putting them out there. It gives you an opportunity, if we move along, to respond to any one of these, what Joe has called 12 medical myths that even your doctor believes are true. And many of these you would find to be ridiculous, even on hearing them one at a time. Yet the entire medical community is stunned by them, and I think Joe is probably right with respect to the fact that most doctors would believe that they are true. We've covered 4 of these already. Let's talk about the ones we've covered. We're not really going to go over them again. Just to hear them, though, just to hear the phrase already purports that it is a myth. So the first myth was cardio, and you should put in parenthesis, jogging, running, swimming, bicycling for like miles. That's the cardio workout that we're talking about. Is one of the best types of exercise. Hey, that's a myth. We found out there's interval training that was much more superior, and you should be hearing more about it as time moves on. That was, I think, one that caught me by surprise. How about this one? Vaccines are safe and effective. Wow, we don't have to get too far into that one before you realize that on its face value, that's an out-and-out lie. Number 3, fluoride in your water lowers your risk of cavities. And I don't think I ever had heard it put to me that way before, that direct applications of fluoride absolutely do prevent cavities, but putting it in water supplies and having you ingest it do nothing for the cavities, and they do a heck of a lot of damage to all the other body systems, immune systems, thyroid, intelligence, have all been linked. Dropping in intelligence and IQ have all been linked to fluoride in the water. And then the final one we got to, just at the gong the other day, I think was one that when you all hear, at least at the face value, you know right off the bat that is an out-and-out fallacy. It's a myth. It's a lie. And the fourth one we covered was GMO crops, that's genetically modified crops, are safe, well-tested, and economically beneficial. And maybe economically it is beneficial to whom, I won't say, but as far as being safe and well tested, out and out. Why? Now we're going to move on today with some additional myths. I'll be listening in the background for your phone call. Anyway, if you were up at the Cass Ingram night festivities, hey, somebody give me a call. Let me know how things went with that thing up there. And I'll proceed when we return. We're going to take a short break talking about other medical myths that even your doctor believes are true. Be back in a moment with the myths.
This is Dennis J. Courtney, MD. Have you become confused about how best to manage your health? It's no wonder. It seems that every time you turn on the television or radio, another expert has yet another suggestion for you to follow that seems to be reasonable enough, but no matter how dutifully you follow the instruction, it just doesn't quite produce the results that you are looking for. If this confusion sounds familiar to you, give us a call at the Center for Complementary Health, where we'll make some sense of the confusion based on a blending of traditional and alternative medicine that we've been perfecting over the last 7 years. We offer metabolic nutrition testing, immune system repair, natural hormone replacement therapy, chelation therapy, cutting-edge allergy correction, and a host of other safe and effective alternative therapies.
Dennis J. Courtney, MD, is located at 3075 Washington Road in McMurray. Phone 724-942-3002.
Want to help your family eat healthier? Instead of learning to disguise tofu in wondrous ways, how about some real nutritional power? If your family has the typical American palate for fries, pizza, and burgers, giving your family the blessing of good nutrition is a struggle. Fruit of the Spirit is the answer for your family's nutritional needs. Fruit of the Spirit is an all-natural whole fruit puree made from fresh fruits native to the Holy Land with alkalizing minerals. Fruit of the Spirit was 5 years in the formulation, the work of a team of top nutritional experts with independent science to confirm its antioxidant power. 1 ounce a day provides the equivalent of 5 servings of fruits and minerals. Fruit of the Spirit is convenient, affordable, and delicious. Even your picky family will sing the praise of the Fruit of the Spirit. Give your loved ones the blessing of good nutrition. Call 1-800-442-3793 for a special promotional offer. Fruit of the Spirit, a blessing for your good health. That's 1-800-442-3793. Call them now, 1-800-442-3793.
Hey, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back once again to AM Impact on Your Health. Heard here in KCB 620 each and every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 8 to 9 o'clock. I'm Dr. Dennis Courtney with you on a Friday version of the show. We call it a Get 'em Up Out of Town version of the show, normally allowing and enjoying the opportunity to let you come on in and ask whatever questions may be on your mind, any comments you'd like to make, and we're certainly going to keep with that pledge today. The number to do so, as always, will be 412-825-6262. That's 412-825-6262. So when you have a mind to, give us a knock on the door, and I'll let you on in, and we'll find out what's on your mind as we approach this wonderful weekend that's coming up. Now, on my plate are pursuing some additional, of the 12 medical myths that your doctor even believes are true. Joe Mercola sent a email a number of days ago. It caught my eye, and as I go over them, I see where, geez, listeners to this show and listeners to this station already know that these are just giant myths, except in a couple cases. And I thought to go through them and point them out for the overt fallacies that they really are would be some time well spent. So we're going to be going through and plodding through these. We'll get through all 12 of them at some point, but also listening and on the lookout for your knock on the door. We just had one. Let's let them in the store. Hello and welcome aboard. What's on your mind today?
Dr. Courtney?
Yes.
I had a question for you. My daughter is expecting her first child in November. Now, she plans to not immunize the child, but we were wondering, for an infant, is there any supplements she should be giving her child to build its immunity, or is breastfeeding alone enough?
Well, I think breastfeeding, especially in a mother who's got great nutrition on her own, should be quite adequate. But what I do find is that even in the conventional medical community, there is a desire to want to give mothers and newborns supplements. You're going to be finding that that's actually going to be the case in the largest majority of the pediatricians out there, and I think that there is a case to be made to make sure that all of the nutritional needs are met for that child, that supplementation should go forth, not relying just only on the mother's milk, because that may be not appropriate in terms of the content of vitamins, minerals, and nutrients on its bare face. Okay, so please supplement. I'd like to hear that you got the chutzpah to go up against it. Did you already discuss this, or is it your daughter? You said.
Yes.
Your daughter already discussed this with with her OBGYN and.
No, she did.
Oh, has this discussion? Is it going to be the first time, huh?
Yes.
Okay. Good luck. Stick to your guns. You do not have to do any of these vaccines. If I can provide any bit of encouragement, it's that I'm finding more and more pediatricians have really it was a very hard and cold exterior that they poised themselves as, not tolerating, they felt, any of their patients to miss vaccines. And I don't know whether it turned out to be economic reality for them. A public got sensitized to this issue, and I find more and more pediatricians allowing parents to make that call. But let's say that in her case, the pediatrician makes a big fuss about this, she needs to move on. She needs to fire that doctor and move on to someone that'll work it the way she wants to work it. And I think, listening to you, maybe that would have happened without me even mentioning it.
Now, are there so you suggest to go ahead and take like a infant vitamin? Do they come like?
Oh yeah, you're going to find, there's going to be a whole host of them that are going to be offered, and they're quite good. The neonatal vitamins that are placed in formulas, as well as in supplementing to breastfeeding, are excellent. I would say that I wouldn't worry too much about moving into other forms of supplementation. They've covered that very well. They know what's really lacking in newborn diets, and they have compensated for it well. So if this is your first grandchild, get ready. You're going to be pleased with how they respond to that. And you just will make sure, of course, that the vaccine issue works out in the way that you want it to. And I'm with you, kid.
Okay.
Stick to your guns.
All right.
Okay.
Thanks.
Absolutely.
Bye-bye.
Vaccines, yes. Remember, that was that one that was vaccines are safe and effective. Sure they are. Hey, talking about the next myth. This is a myth number 5. Where do you hear this one? It could be phrased a couple ways. How about this? The out-and-out fallacy is that sun causes skin cancer. Now, this one really has the entire medical community spooked. A knee-jerk reaction. The dermatologists have completely lost it and have no sense of reality or a reasoning that to back up their outlandish claims that I think if the message is coming across any clearer than I now make it, it's something like this: run away from the sun like a banshee. Lather up to many millimeters of depth worth of sun lotion. If you even are thinking about going out in the sun kills, the sun causes melanoma, the sun. Well, the fallacy phrase is that the sun causes cancer. I think if we put it in these terms, however, you could actually make a case for the sun causing cancer in a setting of low vitamin D levels. It is the lack of vitamin D, as we're finding out more and more and more, it's that lack of vitamin D which is protective against skin cancers of all types, let alone melanoma. By the way, melanoma, a deadly cancer, no doubt about it. There are misconceptions about melanoma. It may be the most deadly and the most dangerous type of skin cancer out there. It does account for more than 75% of all skin cancer deaths But despite all the bad press linking it to sun exposure and skin cancer, there's almost no evidence at all to support that stance. There is, however, plenty of evidence to the contrary. If you just think about it for a moment, it doesn't pass the smell test for a couple of reasons. One is, I don't know if you have, as I've had, the ability to observe these melanomas when they appear and are so very dangerous, but they are rarely occurring in sun-exposed skin. I mean, I find these to be on the back, on the buttocks, in the thighs. These are places that rarely get sunlight exposure to be the provocateur of the skin cancer that is so doggone deadly. So one might say, well, yeah, because it's in the area that doesn't really get hit with the sun, when finally the sun does hit it, see, that's what causes the skin. And I think that's the infantile, elementary way that the dermatology community is trying to portray the sun as the bad guy here. If it turns out, and it is turning out to be true, that vitamin D is a protective issue, then you need to get your vitamin D levels up. And vitamin D stimulation doesn't provoke the formation of pockets of vitamin D in the skin that make areas safe. It's universal. It travels throughout the entire body. You don't get blotches of vitamin D. You get vitamin D in the bloodstream that moves everywhere, and you just need to reach a protective level of vitamin D. So my little plug for vitamin D at this point is you Pittsburghers, you people that are above the 34th parallel, somewhere above Atlanta, Georgia, between the months of September and May, cannot, and I repeat, cannot get any direct sunlight exposure at all because the Earth tilts slightly on its axis, and any sunlight hitting our atmosphere is bent to strike us and never does strike us directly during those months. Has to come around to May again before we're able to have the Earth re-tilt itself, and when it does, we will be able to get direct sunlight. So you must supplement, and we're learning now, you must supplement in a pretty aggressive fashion. I have now hundreds of patients that I have done vitamin D levels on. The normal level, they say begins at 32 nanograms per milliliter. I now am using all 10 fingers. I can say that I have had 10 patients, and 10 only, out of all of my patients who've had a normal vitamin D level of at least 32 nanograms per milliliter, and in all cases, they were just slightly over the line, but nonetheless, they were normal. Now, that's only 10 out of many hundreds that we've tested over quite a few months, now over a year and a half. So when I asked all 10 of these patients, so it's still running true to form, hey, what is it about you? What do you do that at least gives you the opportunity to say that your vitamin D level is normal, or just slightly above this 32 nanograms per milliliter threshold? In every single case, they say, well, look, I've been supplementing vitamin D to at least, the numbers come between 5,000 and 10,000 units a day, between the minimum of 1 year and many times even more than 1 year, to make it just over the line. Over the line isn't good enough. We know that optimal levels of vitamin D, this protection against the sun, and that the sun, if you don't have vitamin D on board, absolutely can cause skin cancers. But with the protection of vitamin D on board, it should not. And you should not be running away from the sun. You need to get vitamin D on board to levels of 80 or higher. We say between 80 and 100. It'll take, on your own, if you're going to do this orally, with 10,000 units a day, between 10 and 20,000 units a day. These are heretofore considered mammoth doses. It'll take you well over a year to reach levels of 80 to 100. But that's okay. If you wanted to do this in a more abrupt fashion, come on in to see us, give us a call. We have injectable forms of vitamin D, and we'll be able to reach those levels inside of about 2 months with multiple injections of at least 200,000 units at a time, sometimes up as high as 400,000 units. So our goal is to get you up there and get you protected. I think the best example we have of how effective this is, talking about vitamin D level, one only needs to turn to the studies that have been done in those people who live in the tropical regions. I'm thinking particularly about a study done on Polynesian males who are fully exposed. I mean, their backs and chests and so forth are completely exposed to the sun all day, every day. And you don't find any cases of malignant melanoma on those islands. It's just not there. That's the point to make. Why isn't it there? Because their vitamin D levels are through the roof. None of those gentlemen are toxic from vitamin D, and when they're measured, we find that where are they with their vitamin D levels? Somewhere between 80 and 100. So I say you can take this one on your own, you can do it on your own, but you're going to have to go get a vitamin D level. You can come on into us. We do these automatically on all the patients that we see. If you're going to your doctor, the last thing to say about it is you need to request something called 25-OH-D3. Now, I know this sounds like code, but I'm going to mention it again. It's called 25-OH-D3. This is the form of vitamin D that you should be measuring, not the active form of vitamin D, because the half-life is so short that you can't ever get a good reading on that you can trust. The doctor, knowing that 125 dihydroxy cholecalciferol, which is a big mouthful, but that's the name of active vitamin D, and it more than likely in the unskilled clinician would be the form of vitamin D that they would order. The other error that is normally made is that the doctor just writes for vitamin D level. That would be a bad choice because there are more than 5 or 6 different kinds of vitamin D that can be measured. And what will happen in the lab tech will go and look in the book, and whatever the first one happens to be listed under vitamin D, that's the one that will be requested by the lab tech if you only write out in the prescription vitamin D level. So the key vitamin D level to ask for is 25-OH-D3. Get it, know the number, and then probably at 6 months intervals continue to get another blood level drawn to find out how well you're ascending. And of course, when you reach your ultimate goal of between 80 and 100, you'll want to maintain a level of supplementation throughout the year, increasing it in the wintertime, decreasing it in the summertime, but still maintaining high intake levels of vitamin D every day to maintain that 80 to 100 nanograms per milliliter to give you the vitamin D protection that you will so richly deserve. Now, yes, we're talking about skin cancers in this instance because the fallacy was that sun causes skin cancer. No. Vitamin D deficiency causes skin cancer. Sun exposure just allows that deficiency to manifest itself in the pathological presentation of a malignancy. Unfortunately, some pretty precarious ones and deadly ones too. But the benefit of vitamin D isn't only to protect you from melanoma. The last thing to say on this matter is that plotted out in front of me about a year and a half ago was the awareness that every disease that you can name, and you can talk about cardiovascular disease, diabetes, all the cancers, not just the skin cancers, the Parkinson's disease, the MS, the Lou Gehrig's, the list would go on and on and on, that they plotted out these diseases with reference to the equator and moving both north and south from the equator. As you increase the distance from the equator in either north or southerly directions, the incidence of every one of those diseases exponentially increased in proportion to how far away from the equator you really were. And once they supplemented, the incidence of all those diseases diminished proportionately to the distance to the equator. So that's the last thing to say about vitamin D. I'm glad that Joe put it in the form of one of the 12 medical myths that even your doctor believes in, and one only needs to have the discussion with their doctor about sun exposure, and you'll get the drift of where he or she is on this matter. It is a myth. The sun doesn't cause it. Vitamin D deficiency does. Hey, enough on the skin cancer myth. Let's take a short break. When we come back, we got more myths. We may have more from you too. 412-825-6262 with anything on your mind. Still want to hear about Cass Ingram up there? Anybody want to give me a call and let me know about it and let all of our listeners know? We'll be back in a minute to carry out both objectives. See you in a moment.
Have you been to the doctor lately? Was fatigue top of your complaint list? Even if your doctor asks you what you eat, the recommended 5 servings of fruits and vegetables a day is a dream in your busy schedule. What if you learned of a product 5 years in the formulation that delivers 5 servings of fruits and minerals in just 1 ounce? That's right, it's Fruit of the Spirit. The blessings of Fruit of the Spirit are now formulated into a delicious whole fruit puree product rich in antioxidants and minerals. Your health is more than just a test result. It's a balance of physical, spiritual, and emotional factors. You work regularly to strengthen your faith. Let Fruit of the Spirit help cover your nutritional needs in a convenient and cost-effective ounce a day. Call 1-800-442-3793 for a special promotional offer. Fruit of the Spirit, a blessing for your good health. Fruit of the Spirit, 5 servings of fruits and minerals with no added sugars. That's 1-800-442-3793 for your good health. Call them now, 1-800-442-3793.
This is Dennis J. Courtney, MD. We become confused about how best to manage your health. It's no wonder. It seems that every time you turn on the television or radio, another expert has yet another suggestion for you to follow that seems to be reasonable enough, but no matter how dutifully you follow the instruction, it just doesn't quite produce the results that you were looking for. If this confusion sounds familiar to you, give us a call at the Center for Complementary Health, where we'll make some sense of the confusion based on a blending of traditional and alternative medicine that we've been perfecting over the last 7 years. We offer metabolic nutrition testing, immune system repair, natural hormone replacement therapy, chelation therapy, cutting-edge allergy correction, and a host of other safe and effective alternative therapies.
Dennis J. Courtney, MD, is located at 3075 Washington Road in McMurray. Phone 724-942-3002.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back once again to AIM Impact on Your Health here on this Friday Get 'em Up Out of Town version of the show where, yes, we've opened it up to you. If you've got a mind to get something off your chest in the form of a question or a comment, come right ahead. 412-825-6262 is that number. And I'll be listening for a knock on the door, especially to those who were at the Freedom of Choice in Cancer Therapy group last night. Come on and let us know how things went up there. I'm sure Cass stole the show, as I would expect he would and could. Interested in all those books that you purchased. I think you have the 14 books now. Guy's amazing. Absolutely amazing. We do have a knock on the door. Come on the store. Hello and welcome aboard.
Good morning, Dr. Courtney.
Hi.
I had the opportunity to go to Cass Ingram's
Ah.
last night. You are absolutely right. He is the man. He walks the talk.
Yeah, he is the guy, isn't he? What are you talking about?
Yeah, after 4 hours, I had to leave.
Ah, he wore you out.
He gave us stretch. He even broke it up. He did stretch exercises with us. The man's incredible, and it comes through that he is totally passionate about what he's doing, and he talks with such finality that to me it's like the end-all to medicine. Okay. They could make Obamacare just so relatively inexpensive if we would just follow some of his advocations. But I will say, he brought something up very quickly. I didn't have a chance to discuss it with him because there were so many people around him. And that is, he has mentioned, are you familiar with Gary Null at all?
Oh, yeah. Read a lot of his stuff, sure.
Right. Well, apparently Gary Null is affiliated with a company that does make supplements, I guess, according to his specifications.
All right.
And apparently one of the products has a synthetic form of vitamin D in it, and apparently in such concentrations that they somehow related this to some kidney problems, and he is being litigated, or his company is being litigated, according to Dr. Cass,
Wow.
for the synthetic vitamin D that's in some of these products that he has. And so I know you specifically say, is it the 125 is it a dihydroxycholecalciferol?
Well, that's what the active form is. That your body makes that final conversion in all of its tissues,
Okay.
but it's 25-OHD3 that you take as the supplement.
Okay.
And that's what you end up measuring when you do the blood test. And meaning your body, will be able to metabolize that down further, ultimately to the final step to convert it to 125-dihydroxycholecalciferol. You got the right mouthful there. That's quite a mouthful, I know. But
Let's say it's sort of
that's iambic pentameter. Yeah, it's iambic pentameter for doctors. Okay, it just has a poetic ring to it. You never forget it. Anyway, that particular compound only have a half-life measured in minutes.
all right.
And that's why it's not you certainly wouldn't want to take it. And it is, once it's finally converted to its final form, it's not hanging around too long. So the better measurement and the true supplement is 25 hydroxycholecalciferol.
Okay.
Okay?
So I would only put that, maybe you can find out more. Certainly I'll try.
Yeah, on the Gary Null litigation.
Synthetics are really out there.
Yeah, which? Well, let's find out about it. I had not heard that there's litigation, and Lord knows, with any potential for kidney issues, I haven't read about.
It causes, the synthetic form causes a precipitation of kidney stones. Okay, and I guess this is just a very narrow window as to the utilization of calcium in the body, natural versus synthetic. And apparently it's only in some people that this precipitation occurs. And so he says, he just throws that out as, some people may not be bothered by it, but apparently it is a problem that's being addressed from litigation.
I'm on it. I'll run it down. I'll report back.
And I will tell you one thing. There was I guess estimated over 100 people there, maybe 120 or so. And that man invited everybody up. He was doing a body type analysis thing, mostly concentrating on adrenal and thyroid function. And he would do this by analyzing he did a quick examination of your body type and looked at the hands real carefully. And he stood there and did everyone in the room.
In the room.
He's incredible.
That's what you mean by boundless energy. The guy, well, doesn't.
He's no spring chicken either. I mean, he's a good-looking man. But I mean, it's not like he's 25 or anything. I don't even know how. I would say he's in his 50s, but the man is fabulous.
Well, I'm glad you went up there. Thanks for giving us a call so that we all could hear that. That's great because, believe you me, only having 120 finally make it up there.
No, that is a drive.
It's a drive. Yeah.
Last night. I don't know why, but especially coming back.
Yeah. What? 11 o'clock?
Yeah, I left at 11. He was still talking.
He was still going.
Okay. Well, thank you for your.
Thank you for the report. Appreciate it.
Bye-bye.
Okay. There you go. First Cass Ingham report. Boundless energy. Are you surprised? I don't think so. Hey, we got another knock on the door. Come on the store. Hello and welcome aboard.
Yes, I take a supplement called Dry Vitamin D3. Call it Cipherol.
Okay.
1,000 units.
Okay.
I use. How does this compare with the product you have?
Well, what you just said probably matches up to exactly. I mean, I use a liquid form. There are pill forms. There are powder forms. But you do have 125 OHD3. Is that right? Is that what you said?
Wait, sure. Vitamin D3.
Yeah, vitamin D3.
Where is that? Where does 3 come from?
Well, there's vitamin D2 and vitamin D1. And it has to do with the number of steps that occur from its origination in the blood, which is called calciferol. And the third step produces, well, that's D1. D2 is another. The third step produces 125 hydroxy cholecalciferol. So you went from calciferol to 2 different other compounds to get to the first form of vitamin D3. And it remains vitamin D3 from that point on until it gets another hydroxy ultimately and becomes just active vitamin D. But you would never supplement with the active form. You have the right form, sir. Don't worry about it. How many units a day do you take?
1,000 I use.
Okay, let me just say, it appears that you don't have a vitamin D level drawn at this time. Am I correct?
No, not really.
Okay, and I would say to you that at 1,000 units a day, and man, if I've learned anything about dosing over time and what it produces, you couldn't possibly be in a normal range for vitamin D with that small amount. It's going to take much more.
Much more.
And I would say, in order for you to be appreciative of how much more, you need to see how low your vitamin D level is. It was shocking to me to... Pardon me?
On a blood test?
Yes, there is a blood test.
What test is that?
Okay, that blood test is to ask your doctor to request 25 OHD3. 25 OHD3.
25 OH.
If you have any trouble, we run them on every patient that we see. You can come on and see us, and we'll be happy to.
And what are the highs and lows on that?
Well, the lows, I've got to tell you, have been almost embarrassingly so low. They've been in single digits. No one's ever had a 0, but I've had patients with 8, 9. That's embarrassing enough.
8, 9.
8 and 9. And the normal level start 8. No.
Mark this down for the next blood test.
All right. Well, no. You got to hear me right though. The normal begins at 32 nanograms per milliliter. What I'm telling you is that the patients that I've ran my first blood levels on came back with vitamin D levels as low as 8 or 9, and came in droves. Some. You'll be surprised. I'm going to say you need to be taking 5 to 10,000 units a day. But the way you'll feel comfortable in doing it is to get that blood level drawn to find out how low you are. And when you find out that you're probably in the teens or the low 20s, then you're going to say, well, geez, I'm going to step this up. You want to step it up to between 5 and 10,000 units a day, and for about 6 months until you get another level.
How about side effects like liver, kidneys?
You know what? I've had 0 side effects occur with the stuff.
Is that a possibility?
With what, sir?
Kidney stuff.
Oh, you know what? It just was mentioned by the previous caller that in some forms of vitamin D, in a synthetic form of vitamin D, that kidney stones did become an issue. So it looks as though there are some forms out there that you have to be careful with as compared to the natural forms.
Yeah, this is considered to be all natural.
Okay, well, then you're probably all right with the natural forms. But you want to get up, you ultimately want to get to a level of between 80 and 100. And it'll take you years to get there. But that will be your best protect.
This is specifically for skin cancer.
No, it's for just about any disease you can name. What we've learned,
Cancer, period, done.
all the cancers, but much more than that, all the neurological diseases, any disease you can name, turns out to be exacerbated and and precipitated by a vitamin D deficiency that isn't curative if you go ahead and get a high level of it, but it at least affords you protections that if you don't have elevated levels of vitamin D, you are not protected. So you got many more reasons other than skin cancers to want to get your vitamin D level at an optimal, and the optimal is going to be 80 and above.
You mentioned those people in the South, the island South.
Yes.
Tremendous sun they go through every day on an endless basis.
Yes.
None of them have.
And none of them have melanomas.
That's amazing.
Isn't that amazing?
What do they take? What do they eat? Some stuff.
No. They well, their diet is not, I think, the issue to seize upon. It's the vitamin D levels they have that are so high are due to the sun exposure. The sun.
The sun exposure is one of the major.
Yeah, it's called the sunshine vitamin because your body makes it when it's stimulated. The skin is stimulated by the sun.
So they've been proposing sun is not good for you.
That's what they say.
Well, I read an article on alternatives, and they say, yes, you should have X amount of sun every day of your life, like 45 minutes.
Well, the number's 20. It should be direct exposure, which you cannot get between the months of September to May. In other words, you...
Is there any alternative to that, like the sunlight bulbs that you can buy? Is that... They give you a tan.
UVA, the UVA light would be able to stimulate because it is the UVA, not
light, huh?
UVA, not the UVB. UVA light, that's what you would need. 20 minutes only. 20 minutes only because your level is so low. In other words, once you got your level up to very high levels, you wouldn't be affected by exposure to that for many, many hours.
Sort of a tanning light also, right?
Well, I'm not so certain that all tanning lights are UVA only, and I'm not so sure that the treatment...
Yes.
Pardon me?
UVA light.
Yeah.
Yes, to it in the wintertime.
You need direct exposure in the wintertime in order to convert calciferol to cholecalciferol in the light. Okay?
There's no alternative. Is that what you're saying?
No, the alternative to that direct sunlight exposure by the light bulb is you supplementing with vitamin D. I think that's the better way of handling this.
Well, I'm taking here then the dry vitamin D3.
That's right. As long as it's a natural form, I don't care if it's dry. I just care it's 125 hydroxy and it's natural vitamin D3. And measure your levels, sir, and you'll see that now that's very low.
Well, I'm going to do that.
All right, please do.
All right.
All right, I'm glad you called.
Thank you.
All right. Now that was a call of 50 questions on vitamin D, all poignant, all appropriate, and I hope concisely answered to help this gentleman out. If you find yourself in a similar predicament, come on in and see us. I'll be happy to manage your vitamin D issue as I've done with so many hundreds of patients up to now. You don't get through this office without having vitamin D illuminated to the point where we're going to make the corrections your way, which is oral supplement, or my way, which is IM injectable. Either way, you're going to get to that Valhalla number of 80 and above, usually be between 80 and 100. All right. 412-825-6262. Let's hit one other myth while I wait for a knock on the door. Here it is. Here's the myth. Joe Mercola says it. And let me dial it. Here it is. The myth. Saturated fat causes heart disease. Wow. Has this been a harmful adage that's been followed for so long? As recently, they say, as 2002, the expert Food and Nutrition Board, whoever they are, issued the following misguided statement. This was in 2002, that recently. And essentially, here's the quote from the Food and Nutrition Board. Saturated fats and dietary cholesterol have no known beneficial role in preventing chronic disease and are not required at any level in the diet. That's coming from some group called the Food Nutrition Board, and that's a quote from their a statement they made in 2002. It's that statement and statements like it going back to the 1950s that promulgated an approach to the consumption of fats that has been obviously now led to more diseases by the avoidance of fats, saturated fats, than would ever be corrected by the consumption of saturated fats. It's a dangerous recommendation, folks, which occurred from an unproven hypothesis from the mid-1950s. So says Joe Mercola. It's been harming your health and that of your loved ones for about 40 years now. Here's the truth. Saturated fats from animals and vegetable sources provide the building blocks for cell membranes, and I tell you, you have got to maintain your consumption of saturated fats, and you've got to maintain that cholesterol. And here, once again, is a medical community out of control, taking your cholesterol and ramming it right through the ground and making it fall to subterranean unsafe levels through the use of those statin drugs. I come back, constant listeners to this show at least know that when you go back in the medical books, you find that the normal cholesterol range is 250 to 300 milligrams per cent. That number was ignored about 30 years ago with the advent of the statin drugs. It was capriciously dropped to, I don't know who said they were allowed to do it. They just did it and made it 200, and now they even ignore the 200 level. The mindset that I see emanating from the young medical school graduates and new doctors and the new doctors who are assuming practices across this country is that bring on the statins. However low you can get that cholesterol to go, the better off you are medically. When in fact, the whole apple cart is being upset from you driving that level too low. The cholesterol level, you need cholesterol. You need a pretty generous amount of it because it forms the moiety by which every hormone that you make is made, and every cell membrane that's going to be requiring a repair is going to pull upon, and if you don't have the cholesterol level to do it, you will fall short. And you are going to be deluded into thinking that you're so healthy. Your doctor pats you on the back. You leave the office saying, my God, look at that cholesterol level. It's 145. And I have them come into my office with lab work from their doctor that they just had drawn with a cholesterol level of 145. And he said, his doctor said, that's great. He feels great about his doctor feeling great. And I want to call 911. It is a medical emergency. Don't avoid these saturated fats. You need them. You require them. The fat-soluble vitamins of A, D, E, and K are found within these saturated fats, and you require generous and healthy doses of them all. Saturated fat is not to be avoided. Saturated fat actually protects the body against heart disease. And I think of my brother-in-law in his 30s who had bypass surgery, and he had the fat scare put into him. He runs from fat. He is lacking these nutrients, and no matter what kind of discussion I have with him, it doesn't dent him. It doesn't register. And he's one of these that unfortunately was lost in terms of looking at this in the healthy way that he has to, and because of his history and the fear of God that was put in him in his 30s when he had to have bypass surgery, he continues to maintain that anti-fat posture to this day, and I feel for the guy. Here we are, coming around up to the end of the show. We got other of the myths to work on. We can get started on those when we resume back here at the Ponderosa on Monday morning. We got up-and-coming guests, don't forget. As we move in the month of October, I hadn't mentioned them today, we're going to have Dr. Hanna with us. She's going to be talking about nasal washings and vaccines. It started, I didn't tell you, we're moving to Breast Cancer Awareness Month. And I said that on October 1st, you can expect the fountain to turn pink. And I wondered this year what's going to happen with all the hubbub over mammograms that occurred back in December of last year when the federal government said, ladies, you don't need these mammograms. Well, yesterday morning on Fox News, Dr. Manny weighed in. And he weighed in on the back of a study that came out of Norway over, I think I heard, 50,000 women study, which showed that mammograms really, in a nutshell, weren't all that they were trumped up to be, and that they more than likely shouldn't be done. Dr. Manny, in the face of that study, and because of his staunch medical background, he is an OBGYN, said to the audience that was listening, look, I don't believe in this study. I am recommending, and you can better believe that your gynae is going to do the same. I am recommending, Dr. Manny said, that all my ladies get those mammograms and don't pay attention to these studies. And that's what's going to happen this October, just like it happened last October, only to find out in December your federal government said you don't need to use mammograms until you're much older. Anyway, expect that to come up. And we'll have the girls talking about the thermographic technician from Three Rivers going to be with us on the 11th of October. We'll also have Bill Henderson with us. He's going to be the author of a book on cancer therapies, alternative cancer therapies, and he will be the next speaker at the Freedom of Choice and Cancer Therapy Group to convene this time on the third Thursday of the month of October, and he'll be at the Days Inn, just out of Butler, at 7 p.m. Hey, I hear bongos in the background. Enjoyed being with you today. Hope you have a wonderful weekend. Get out there. Maybe get up to Mother Earth, huh? We'll talk to you on Monday. Maybe we can report back on what we saw out there. Until then, this is Dr. Dennis Courtney saying so long for AM Impact on Your Health.